Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam. Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Okay, Hariam, everybody, good morning. Cameras on, please. We are seeing in Sanskrit verbs. Well, we were seeing English verbs first, and now we are seeing Sanskrit verbs. We used the help of the trusted eggplant to explain to us how verbs operate. Huh? So we have verb roots in Sanskrit. A verb root is something like, an example will be but. But is an example of a verb root. But means to study or to read. You cannot use a verb root in the language directly, just like you cannot use a vegetable directly in the pot. It has to be refined and processed first. So a verb root has to become a verb base before you can use it in the language. The way we make a verb base, the most common way we make a verb base is to remove the halan. It is not the only way. That is why there isn't just a step within the conjugation table to remove the halan. It is a very common way. So you take a verb root and you make it a verb base. Majority of time you will notice it is a removal of the halan. Sometimes it is not. How will you know? Well, you're going to be told. Just like you're told masculine, feminine, neuter, you're told how the verb works. But there are more general rules so you can figure out some of this stuff, right? Okay. Now that you have your verb base, then what you do is you divide it into 9 pieces and you add your respective masalas. Okay, I'm not going through the example. We're going through the content for verbs. So you have but, verb root, it becomes patha, verb base. That verb base is broken into 9 pieces, meaning it has 9 times you will see patha, patha, patha. Not but. You're not going to write but in the conjugation table. Patha. Then to that you add your endings. Your endings, like your masalas, get added to each one. So I'll sing the song. Everybody try to sing along. Ami avaha amaha sithaha titaha anti. Ami avaha amaha sithaha titaha anti. Ami avaha amaha sithaha titaha anti. You should be following along with the paper also. I mean, yeah, with your book or on screen. Ami avaha amaha sithaha titaha anti. Ami avaha amaha sithaha titaha anti. Ami avaha amaha sithaha titaha anti. Okay, this song should stick in your head. It is the most common conjugation table you will find in Sanskrit. And if your mind is able to recognize these sounds, then you'll very quickly be able to recognize the verbs in the sentences. If not, every word in the sentence you have to look at and be like, which one could be a verb? And you look at your verb table 9 times to try to figure out which one is the verb. So the more efficient option is to memorize it. Memorize it, or at least become familiar with it, where you say, wait, I know that sound is from the verb table. And then you can check the verb table to see which one it is for a start. Eventually, you will memorize it because you can't be in Sanskrit for a few weeks and not know this table by heart. It's one of those things that just sticks in your mind when you put a little bit of effort. Okay? All right, now let us see. Homework was to do khad and arch. So let us do khad first. Hariniji, you say after me. Khadami, khadabaha, khadamaha.
Kadami, Kadavaha, Kadamaha.
Make sure you say ka, not ka. Ka, ka. Khadasi, khadataha, khadatha.
Kadasi, Kadaha, Kadata,
I'll say it slowly. Khadataha,
Kadataha,
khadatha, khadatha.
Kadata,
Hmm. Khadati,
Kadati,
khadataha,
Kadataha,
khadanti.
Kadanti.
Hmm. Everybody who's having problems saying the Mahapranas, you're going to get real trouble here. Everybody who's saying not saying Mahapranas, you're going to get real trouble here, right? Because, whoops, because this is kadataha, this is kadataha. And if you cannot say the difference, we will not know if you're saying you or if you're saying they. That is why it is so, so, so important to get your Mahapranas correct. Okay, now just a note, make sure you wrote the A for the Ami in your notes. Make sure you wrote the Visarga for the Avaha and Amaha. Make sure there's no A anywhere else. Make sure your Th doesn't look like a Bh. Some people write Th like Bh. Make sure your Th doesn't look like a Bh. And this has a Nahalandan there. Okay? So you check your work, make sure you got it right. Now let us go to arch. Arch, I know many people made a mistake in where the ra went. So before we say it, please look. This ra, remember, the ra halant, the raf, goes at the end of the syllable. It sits on the mom's lap. It does not sit on the sister's lap. Over here, ch is a half letter because it has a vowel with it. This is where the ra sits. So everybody, how many mistakes you made? 1 mistake, 2 mistakes, 3 mistakes. Because you made one. Right? So please, please correct it if you made a mistake, erase it, scratch it, whatever, and move it. The other thing I wanted to point out is when you are doing your conjugation tables, you will see either, I don't know, everyone's brain works differently, and your own brain might work differently at different times. If it is easier for you to see the addition highlighted, then you highlight the addition. If it is easier for you to see the addition by just highlighting the verb root, then you highlight the verb root. It doesn't matter which one you choose. It doesn't matter if you do it or don't do it also for your own personal issues, means your own personal notes, but for your help, it will help you to see which one you prefer. And as you highlight, you'll be able to distinguish very fast what the endings are. Okay, that's just a life hack that I picked up in my Sanskrit journey that I'm sharing with you. That works for me. Maybe it wouldn't work for you. So now let us do arch. Arch, let us have Vede. Archami. Oh, you have to unmute.
Archami.
Somebody is.
Archami,
Archavaha.
Archavaha,
Not are. Archavaha.
Archavaha,
Archamaha.
Archamaha,
Try and say that more soft. Archasi.
Archasi,
Archathaha.
Archataha,
Archatha.
Archata,
Archati.
Archati,
Archataha.
Archataha,
Archanti.
Archanti.
Okay. Again, everybody make sure you wrote the endings correctly, along with the correct placement of our ra. This na doesn't change to ra in the table. It's very close to the, so it doesn't need the change in sound. You can't even say archarati. Those two sounds can't go together, right? So archanti. Naturally, your mouth will say the normal no. Okay, cool. Now let me talk to you about, let's use our analogy for one more minute. When you are making certain vegetables, you prepare them in the same way that you prepare an eggplant. Like a carrot, you cut the top off, you peel the skin, and then you cut it, and then you cook it. Or like a squash, means a lauki. You cut the top, you peel it, you cut it. So there are some vegetables you treat in the same way. But there are other vegetables that need like special treatment. You know, like the let me see, what is the word? Châtaigne in Trinidad, Katahar in Guyana, and jackfruit in English. Right? When you're peeling that, you can't just peel it just like that. First of all, you need a lot of time. And then you need to put oil on your hands, otherwise that sap sticks to it, isn't it? So you need to know how to deal with that vegetable or fruit or whatever you want to call it specifically so that it is easy to deal with. In the same way, in Sanskrit, some roots are fancy, meaning you don't just take out the halan, you do something else to them. What do you do? Well, for our purposes, all you do is you look at I will always give the verb root and I will give the verb base if it is different, right? If the verb base is different, I will give it. So you just check. That is the only way to know, right? For now. So gum, the verb root, becomes gut cha. Gut cha. How does gum become gut cha? You don't worry about that. Gum becomes gut cha. Gum becomes gut cha. Then remember it is to gut cha that we add all of our endings. So if you were to write this table now, this conjugation table, oh, by the way, gum means to go. You will use this verb only 100 times a week once you start Sanskrit. It is very, very, very common. You will see it profusely in the language in our sentences like that, right? So gum becomes gacha. So verb root gum becomes verb base gacha. And to verb base now we add our ami, avaha, a. Ami, avaha, amaha. Let me show you. Gut. Everyone can write it also. Gachami. Gacha. Gacha. As you're writing it, you should be saying it, by the way, not listening to music in the background and just drawing. You should be saying each sound as you write it. Good. Let's see. Good. Sure. Ha ha. Gachata. Gachati. Gachatah. Gachanti. If you say the sound, if you say the sound as you write it, you will notice that you get the r halant on the top correct. You will get the I correct. You'll write the first line of the I before you write the rest of the thing, and then you wouldn't need to squish it in and try and find space for it, right? If you say the sounds as you write it, you will start to think in syllables. You will start to write in syllables. So I'm going to say this one more time. Gachami, gachavaha, gachamaha, gachasi, gachatah, gachata, gachati, gachatah, gachanti. Okay, I will send this in the group. If you haven't finished writing it, you can write it later. Okay, so now I want to tell you all some things about verbs. First of all, see, we have seen verbs like but, kad, arch, where you just remove the halant. Then we have seen a verb like gum. That becomes gacha. Like this is called a verb root. It is the smallest, most fundamental unit in the language, right? I mean, of course, after letters, when you come to actual grammar, actual words, it is the smallest unit in the language. Now, video's on, guys. These verb roots, how many do you think there will be? That's a hard question. I mean, what kind of question is that? There are approximately 2,200 verb roots in the Sanskrit language. Now, you might look at that and say, what? Oh my God, that is so many. Right? But let me tell you two things. One, once you have learned how to deal with these verb roots that we just dealt with, like the halant, removing the halant, it is like driving. Once you learn how to drive on one road, well, you can drive on most roads. I mean, sometimes, when you move from Canada to Guyana, it takes extra time and learning to figure out how to drive on these roads because they're like half the size. So you need a little more practice to get familiar with them. But then you know how to drive, so you can eventually figure it out. Similarly, there will be a few verbs that you need to be showed how to use, but most of them will follow the rules that we just followed. When you know how to do one, you know how to do the rest. Okay. The other thing about these, two more things I'll tell you about these 2,200 verb roots. Traditional Sanskrit class requires you to memorize the 2,200 verb roots at the beginning of the course before you learn anything else in grammar. So not only are you memorizing a set of declension tables before you start, you're also memorizing about 2,200 verb roots. That is why when you find out it's a few less than 2,200, you're like, oh my God, thank God, right? But we're not memorizing them because, we're in the future. In the future, you get your computer to memorize it for you. So we are not going to tax our brains with the difficult task of memorizing 2,200 before we learn to use them. We're taking a shortcut and we're going to leave them on the computer and we're going to continue with the language. Imagine if I said, okay, now everybody go learn this. And when you're done, you come back. Well, you'll never learn Sanskrit. So just FYI, right? Fun side note. Now, one last really cool thing I'll tell you about verb roots for now is that these verb roots, when I say they're the basic component of the language, I literally mean it. most of the words that you will find in Sanskrit vocabulary are primarily made by using these verb roots. So you take this verb root and you modify it in some way, shape, or form, and it becomes part of a word. And most words can be traced back to their verb roots, meaning most nouns, you'll be able to say, oh, it has this verb root in it. Now, that has a lot of implications, but I'll show you a few examples and then I'll tell you the implications, right? See this. Jan is to be born. Okay? Jan root is to be born. Now, j, when you use j in words, it gives the connotation of being born. Okay? So see, jala means water. So if I say jala ja, that means that this, whatever this word means, whatever this word is, it is something that is born in water. So what is born in water? Well, lotuses are born in water, and aquatic creatures are also born in water. So jalaja could refer to a lotus, and it could refer to a fish. Isn't that so cool? So when you're reading Tulsidashi's Ramayana and you see jalaja, you will know, oh, jalaja, that is lotus, or fish, one of the two. It's something that is born in water. It's very cool. Okay, now see. Anda means egg. So Andaja will be what? What is born from an egg? Birds. So Andaja is another name for a bird. Cool, isn't it? I think it's so cool. Okay, let's do a couple more. Sveda. Sveda means sweat. You don't need to write this. This is just for your understanding of verb roots, right? Sveda means sweat. What is Svedaja? What is born from sweat? Germs, lice. Svedaja refers to all these kinds of germs and bacteria that are born from sweat. See the Rishis thinking? They knew this also. Huh? Okay. Last one. Udbhij is to sprout. So udbhija would be what? Something that is born from sprouting. That's a plant. Huh? So you just learned one verb root called jan. And now you're already telling me the meaning of words. That has to be remarkable. Do that in English. Okay, cool. Next one. Gum. Gum is to go. We just saw gum goes to gacha. Gum is to go. When you see g in words at the end of words, right? That g suffix, it gives the connotation of going. So if you see a word like jalaga, that will be what? Something that goes in water. Again, like some aquatic creature. Ka is space. Kaga, something that goes in space. What will be kaga? Kaga is what we call a bird, because a bird goes in space. I mean, technically, you wouldn't be wrong to say an airplane is a kaga, because an airplane also goes in space. That is how words are made in Sanskrit also. Okay. Ura. Ura means chest. Huh? What goes on its chest? The word for uraga means snake. Why? Because a snake is that which goes on its chest. Isn't that so cool? You hear a word and you understand the purpose of the word by the verbs that make it up. Okay, last set of examples. Da comes from da, to give. Like when you hear the in words, it's from da, to give. So, jala da, that which gives water. That will be what? You know what gives water from the sky? Clouds. A word for a cloud is jalada. These are not the only words. These are poetic forms of the word. Jalada would be a cloud. Vara. Vara is a boon. Varada would be that which gives boons, or he who gives boons. You will hear Ganeshi being called Varada sometimes. You will call Bhagavan Vishnu being called Varada sometimes. By definition, on paper, I guess a genie would be called a Varada, a boon giver, right? Okay. Shanti is peace. Shantida is one who gives peace. So one who teaches you to be peaceful. Huh? Like any kind of spiritual teacher like that could be Shantida. I guess nowadays Shantida is also this thing. You give it to the child and they keep quiet. It makes noise inside, but it makes you quiet outside. Okay, last one. Asana is posture. Asana is posture. Asanda will be what? That which gives you posture. You know the word for chair in Sanskrit is asanda, that which gives you posture. So chair is not just a word that is made of some sounds. It actually has a functional meaning when you say asanda. I think when this world of verbs opens your mind, your whole perspective on life changes. We'll talk more about that tomorrow, but let me tell you about your homework now. I have given here some vocabulary, and you'll see I've divided it. Well, these are all same. They follow the rule. Oh, you can't see that. These first set follow the rules of just removing the halant, and that is how you form the verb base. These ones here that are starred, they have a different verb base. So the verb root is ni. It becomes verb base naya. And to naya, you add ami, avaha, am. Yeah. So this will be nayami, nayavaha, nayamaha. Like this is bhu. Bhu becomes bhava. Bhavasi, bhavataha, bhavata. Smrit becomes smara. Smarati, smarataha, smaranti, like that. Gum becomes gacha. We saw that one already. That is how you use it. Very simple. Verb root becomes verb base. In the case where it is not specified, you just remove the halan to make it the verb base. And where it is specified, you just use the verb base that has been provided. I know everybody was happy yesterday because homework was super simple. Everyone did their homework and happily said, I finished my homework for today. Yeah, yesterday's homework was easy peasy. Okay. Now, what is today's homework? You're not going to write the table for each of these, don't worry. We're going to go from the step where you need to write every single one, or you need to say the table every single time, to actually practicing it in the language. So there are 12 phrases in English that you have to convert to Sanskrit. And there are 12 in Sanskrit that you need to convert to English. If you take your time and pay attention, it would not take too much time. Few minutes only it should take you. It's not hard, huh? So let's do the first one in each together. We three read. So read we saw was but. But becomes patha. And we three, oh, this is what you have to do. Very important. You have to write the person and the number, right? We three read will be what person? First, second, or third person? First person is we. And what number? Plural. 1P plural. First person plural. Then the rest is easy. You look on your table and you say, oh, okay, but becomes patha, and to patha you add amaha. Like that. First, you figure out what is the person and what is the number. Then you write the answer. So that's how you do that one. And this one, same. Chalami. So now you look at your table and you say, where is Chalami? Oh, Chalami is first person singular. You must write this every single time. Even if you know the answer, you must write this. Okay? Then you say, oh, first person singular, it means I something. I what? Chal. Then you check what chal means. I go, I move, right? So then you'll write the answer as I. Not I movie, I move. Okay, simple, isn't it? So I'll send this and you'll do this for homework and we will take it up. Okay, let us do closing prayer and then I'll stay for questions. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai.